Hey YouTube, not been in an acoustic corner for a while. I was playing this on my live stream last night. This is my new nylon string guitar. And I shouldn't be playing with a pick really. That's like playing with a pick. Nylon stringers are funny things. The thing is that I should probably actually pause this and go and get my nylon stringer. I'll do that. Yeah, and I'm back. So yeah, this is my Glastonbury 2003 was the year I went to Glastonbury. Something like that. I decided we were going to take a guitar, and obviously guitars were expensive back then, so I bought this in Victor Morris for, in my head, I think it was £12.50. And I think I made two of my pals chip in for it, like a £5 each, and then I bought strings for it with the other £2.50. So it's really not actually mine. It's part G's and part Peg's, and it got covered in stickers. And this was put on it at Glastonbury. And I remember when I was going through there's like a turnstile thing when we got off the bus, and basically I just had this hanging on my back, and it totally got wedged in the turnstile bit, and I was really feeling really bad because everyone had obviously been waiting for hours to get in, and everyone was pissing themselves laughing. There was nobody who was even slightly annoyed by the fact that I was holding things up, because we'd got through this mad portable turnstile thing with like cages, you know, you get going into football stadiums, and this was completely and entirely, and I can't remember how I got out. I think we had to cut off the bit of string. You know, security guards are like, you know, causing a bit of a fuss at one of these things is a bit, when the security guards are all laughing, and it's not a bad thing. Yeah, so this is just insulating tape fret markers. The strings I put on new at the time. It's got the words and chords for the Summer of '69 etched into the top of it, so you can always play it. It's a D, A, G, A. Me and some guys from school, that band and we tried real hard. Jimmy quit, Jody got married. Didn't know we never get far. Then it's been all man and it's true now. The time doesn't last forever. And we did it now. The time doesn't last forever. Those were the Christians of mine. But a point with these cheapy guitars, I've just realised that, my God, is that one better? But that's not the point. The thing is, nylon stringers have a sort of pleasant sound. This is quite a weird one. I didn't know what I was buying at the time. But normally, this isn't really a classical guitar. This is more like a nylon string normal guitar. The neck is much more manageable. I think it might even have, maybe not. It doesn't have much of a radius, but it's thinner this way. This way, it's thinner, this dimension, which makes it more like a normal guitar. Maybe just a small size, maybe it's just a 3/4 size or something. Well, you see all these people buying travel guitars and buying expensive things and Martin backpackers and all that stuff, but these are, I even had a Washburn Rover at one point, and yeah, totally. But I would just buy one of these, sod the case, and if it breaks, buy another one. That means you can burn it or smash it or give it to someone, or something exciting might happen having something like this. I mean, the thing is, it doesn't have that, because it's quite soft sounding, the nylon string. You play anything on it, you just batter it. But these strings are doing well. That's like 20 years I've had put these strings on it, and I'm still classing these as decent strings. Well, it's amazing. I've actually gone from when I picked this up, I did actually have to tune it. it's amazing it still tunes how rusty the tuners are, because this has been out in the rain and all that, been camping and been out in the boat and all that sort of thing. But rather than having like an expensive travel guitar, just have something that you can play anything on it. Oh, I'm looking at my Sabbath. It's all still there. In the same place, you can still play it. Yeah. I think they're underrated. Getting good ones, maybe getting one that's not quite as classical. He doesn't have the big wide. They might even have a truss rod. Doesn't have a truss rod. Yeah. So there's the nylon stringer I've had for 20 odd years. 20 years this year actually. And it's got its place. It's the perfect one for chucking. Also, the thing is the strings don't go rusty. So those strings are 20 years old and they're fine. But when I go back to this one, which I've not actually gone back to after playing that one, it's a completely different sound. It's slightly bigger, I would have said. Slightly. No, not that much in it. It's the thickness of the binding. If it had binding, thicker. But. I don't know. There's a wee bit of. I've not got it, obviously. I've only ever really had that one. I did used to have an Ibanez, an old 70s. Was it an Ibanez Conservatory? Andorra Conservatory guitar or something like that, which I think was significantly bigger than this. All I really remember about it is this bit here kind of came out. It does a wee bit there. A wee bit of the heel kind of comes back up the way, but that one it kind of came up like that. And I think it was certainly more like this than that piece of shit. Well, piece of shit, I'm not selling it. But don't knock having one. The amount of time it takes to make it work though. Assuming you get one that works, or make it work by buying strings and putting them on it, really that's all there is to it. Yeah, this is so much more ringy. I mean, you covered that, stickers and stuff, but this has got like a sort of brrrr, you can feel it when you some of the tricks I have learned when you're playing everything's the same as a normal guitar, right? But what does sound good is going, hit and cut, don't, give it. Kind of more arpeggio, individual slow chords, and also going. Playing F and E. It's amazing actually, just the difference there. Kind of like the last couple of weeks, it's partly to do with my ears, I think, getting more unblocked recently. I've started noticing the difference between cheaper and more expensive guitars, as in it's almost like there's more of this than there is of that. It's like it's the same sound, and that sounds perfectly good, but it's kind of the same between like a Squier and a Fender. It's almost like you've turned the volume up a notch, or you've taken the volume control out of the circuit. It's like you're taking the pillow away from the cushion, away from the front of the speaker, kind of thing. But this feels like it's like everything about it is so much more. There's so much more information and sound. this one. I suppose that one being a bit grotty and obviously a cheapie. I don't even think it's got a make. Oh, it's a Prince, made in Indonesia. I don't even know it's actually goldie on the inside. That'll be Glastonbury, Mud Never. Yeah, so that's a Prince. This one. And you can kind of vibrato it. Yeah. I think even if you're a bass player as well. What it is great for, it'd be great for sitting and rather than digging out the bass and all that and having something like this kicking about. The wife probably is going to accept that that's quite a classy looking thing. This one itself's a little bit beat up, but you know, getting a relatively nice one. You can't fake old, unfortunately. Just look at the colour of it. As I say, basically this one. This is my favourite acoustic I think I've ever played. A car boot sale. If you look, I think you. This will be significantly louder because it's a metal string. Yeah, so I've talked about this. Not an acoustic corner though. So this is a terada that doesn't have a serial number on it. It's got a 0 fret. I think it might be pre-1972. If you look at the I might use some technology here. What if I use the torch in my phone? Is that a stupid idea or is that a good idea? We will see. Hopefully you can still hear me as well. Why am I showing you this label? Oh, it's so close. There's obviously a way of doing it. It's just a case of how do I do it? I'm kind of trying to angle it backwards. I want to put it forwards. I'll put it forwards. There you can see. So it's a terada guitar. The reason that is because, well, I've got the camera out. This one here, my new nylon string one, has the same label on the inside. Well, a different serial number, and it doesn't have a serial number at all. What the hell? Mobile hotspot? No, I don't want to do that. Torch. Yes. Yeah. So I got that this at the car boot sale in Blockhairn about. It was before download, so maybe in June, something like that. I think one of the first times I went, we were looking and I was like, seen all these guitars, and it's like, yeah, buy them, helping Jen buy them to do her paintwork on them, but not really anything for me there. And then I saw this one, and it was like Terada. I know Terada they made my Washburn, because I know you look up the Terada serial number, it's always on the inside of the block. In there, and I was like, I didn't know they made their own guitars on you. They make Yamahas, and they're just a Japanese acoustic factory that makes all of them pretty much. I'd never seen an actual Terada, so I was looking at it. And the top was pure sunk, so the action was like an inch high, and it was like, oh, I'd be interested. The guy wanted, I think it was 60 quid for it. And I was like, oh, and it was really, really dirty, and I think it had 5 strings, and they were all completely different sets. You know, it was like sort of black ones and bronze ones and guitar ones and electric guitar, just like all from different decades. I think it was one of those guitars that maybe, I snapped a string, it was only 8 years ago I put those last ones on. Buy a single string, whatever you can get, put it on. So it was like bronze and nickel. So it was destroyed, but it was Jen that says, give me a tenner for it. I was like, take a tenner for it? Aye. So what I did was, I got it home, strung it up, and it actually sounded and felt quite alright. And I was like, but this brace was off it, that's why the top was sunk. So what I did was I put my first attempt ever at gluing an acoustic, the brace was kind of hanging off and causing and because with the pressure of the strings, so I put glue, wood glue on my fingers inside and rubbed it all in it, and then clamped it up, put a piece of wood along the top like that, and then used a clamp to clamp that up against a piece of wood that was sitting across the top of the guitar to hold it flat. So now it's flat. It's got a pretty good action for an acoustic. I mean, I shouldn't really be measuring it. I think probably it's not 2.5mm. You know, well, so that's a bit high. According to the side of this, it says acoustic guitar. Where are we? It's just acoustic guitar, 2 to 2.5mm. So it's actually within the range of what that wee metal thing has written on it for, and it's fine for an acoustic. And then I remember after getting that working and taking it to download and really enjoying it, and I could probably do with new strings already, but just how much I love that guitar. It's slightly smaller than a full-blown Dreadnought, and I think that just makes all the difference. It's not as loud. It's got its own sound. It sounds different from a Dreadnought. It's like a different category of guitar. It's an FL202, like a folk something. It'll be a copy of a Martin, but not the D28. Yeah, D10 or something, I don't know. No, this is a wonderful guitar. It's better. I like it. Which one would you rather have, this one or the nylon string? I'll have this one. But then again, I've been playing this for a couple of months, so this is. I'm sure every time I pick it up, it gets better. The next time I put new strings on this, it's going to be amazing because it's had decades of not being played, and then it's been actually getting a bit of a proper jam and stuff going on. And I've played it at jams, like I played it on the beach up at the chalet. So it's had played in anger, fighting fit, not sitting in the house piddling away. You know, it's playing whole songs for 10 minutes at a time and stuff. So it's getting what they're designed for, proper guitar playing, not sitting fidgeting watching the telly. You know, actual performance. Yes. Yeah. So I think this is going to sound really disappointing when I go back to this one. Actually, I'm just not that bad. Yeah, what everyone always says when they get a shot of this, everyone's been totally amazed by it. So up here, I like the tuners. It's like, yeah, both sets are cool. So it's got like sort of what look like, I don't know, Dan Electro ones or something on the top, and I think the ones on the bottom are original. I like it. First thing I thought was, up here, all about we'll get new tuners. No, I like both those sets of tuners. So get a wee sample of both. This has still got the original tuners on it. I assume they don't look particularly interesting. Normal slotty ones. The nut was this guitar had a hard life. It was strung left-handed with metal strings, so it was crushed. You can't see if you look at the bridge or an acoustic, it doesn't have these pins on it. See if it's got these pins, then it might take steel strings. See if it doesn't have these pins, you've got to tie knot that. No. But the strings that were on it were metal. No, you do get these strings have got like they're a nylon core with a very thin wire around the outside, so they are metal if you don't know what you're looking at, but they're not. They are still nylon strings, so they're low tension and they don't rip the guitar to shreds. So on this one, actually, I'll get a wee bit sidetracked there. So after I bought that one, I was saying, yeah, so really the only guitar I'm going to find if I go to Block Air is the sort of thing I want. I want a wee 70s Japanese nylon string to go with that one. And Jen had bought a Suzuki a couple of weeks ago. I was up here and I was going over and like an hour later, just after my lunch, it was up here. Oh, we're at the charity shop. Oh, a wee nylon string or 70s. I'm after. So I'm really maybe quite keen on that myself there, Jen. And then I went over an hour later and it had already been stripped and painted, and it was like, okay, so not that one. But then last week, the week before, 2 weeks ago, I was looking at, woke up at 10 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was on Sunday, and Jen's latest post on our page was, oh, I got these guitars, including this nylon, this 70s nylon stringer. It was like, it's even a terada. It's like, I've never seen one before. And the matching one. This one does have the block on it, so this one's 1972 because it's got the proper serial number for a terada. So I think the reason, because that doesn't have the serial number, I think that's pre-72. So I mean, you're talking 50-year-old guitars here, 50-year-old wood. But this one, as I said, had been crushed. The brace, there's a brace that runs here, off. It was hanging on at one side. There's a brace that runs along here, along the back, like on the bottom, one there. Both of these were hanging off. The one on the top, again, the same as this one, was separated. So basically, if you tapped this, it went as it slapped on the brace, slapped off the body. So the top bit, fine. By learning how I did it on that one, I did the same thing. Put a piece of wood across the top, balanced on lollipop sticks to give it there, and then put a clamp in to pull it up against it. Just wood glued it. My new technique is using a long neck paintbrush dipped in the glue to put in. That worked, and then in the bottom ones I was trying to work out how I was going to clamp it. How do you get it? Obviously you can buy proper clamps for clamping guitars. I don't have any of that stuff though. So I got these tongue depressor things. Model making kit lollipop sticks. Where are they? There. These things. I assume that's whatever for model making or whatever. And what I did was I just cut them to length and put them in, and then kind of cut it to the right length, and then wedged it so it would hold. I could use it as like a pushing against the top of the guitar, holding the braces on. So that's what I did. I got the two done, and then now it works, and there's no rattling, and it's getting better by the hour playing it. Just 'cause I don't think it's been played for years. Yeah. So Jed noticed there was a bit hanging off it, and actually she haggled. She got it for £8. So here's my collection of 50-year-old 70s Japanese acoustics, both of which are excellent. Grand total £18. Okay, £24 if you include strings for them, and I suppose a wee tinkling of glue. It's just I just never even looked at these things. My pal Ronnie's into his old Japanese acoustics. I never really thought what's the point in having more than one because they're all the same. But it's just acoustic, but it's totally not that. I should know that because I've got those the Washburn D30 and D32, which were both from the same page in the catalogue. There's an advert for them. I can't remember what series they were called, but they both look exactly the same from the front, sort of. Apart from the sound hole on the 30s, it's a bigger sound hole, but they look exactly the same guitar but with a bigger sound hole. And then when you turn them over at the back, one of them is all maple and the other one is all Macassar ebony, so they look pure amazing. From the front they look the same, you turn them over and it's like whoa, and those two completely sound different. But that's purely down to wood. So the wood that they're made of, and even then they've both got a solid cedar top, they're both made in the same factory, the build quality is the same, so it's just the back and sides and the neck that's different, and the two of them sound completely different. Whereas you get something like that, which isn't even aiming for the dreadnought sound, it noticeably doesn't sound. It doesn't sound like a cheaper version of the Washburns. It sounds like it sounds like a different type of guitar. If that makes sense. So I hope this mic works there. I'm just talking into that one. Still got the stereo one away up there, the background one. That's why I was still talking when I was over at the camera. And that mic there, I suppose, is technically on that guitar amp, but there's nothing coming through the guitar amp. Tuning nylon stringers is a nightmare. You definitely need one of these clip-on tuners because they're just moving a bit all the time. I remember this any other time I've done it. You know, it takes, if you're going to play it every day a week to make it work. But I mean, if you're going to only play the guitar for an hour a week or something like that, it's going to take months to stretch in. Just tune it every time you pick it up. The thing has to be said is once the nylon strings are in tune properly, you kind of don't have to tune it ever again, really, unless you bash it. Because the strings they're really stable. What's really difficult on acoustic, which I'm really enjoying, just it might just be a certain time of life or something like that when I've got to actually enjoying playing this acoustic. Maybe it's because it was a tenor, maybe it's because I'm blinded by the fact it's an old 70s Japanese one, maybe it's because I fixed it myself, maybe it's because I've been playing the bass and the guitar long enough now to be able to play the acoustic and not. I used to always get stuck in acoustic playing the open chords because they sound great, but when you start playing bar chords you start getting lost and not knowing where to play things, but now I know where to play all these things just for playing the bass, and I could try different things. I'm just trying to play clean. I don't mean clean, I just mean without any buzzes or rattles and hit all the notes at the same volume. An nylon stringer does have a thing where you're kind of, rather than hitting the strings, you're kind of more stumming, strolling, letting the pick do the work. I suppose you're meant to be doing your fingers, but I like the pick. Again, it's one of these things that there is an element of technique. The reason I could sort of play this like a normal electric guitar is because I'm used to playing things like that, or that one specifically. Once you have spent an evening sitting there trying to work out how to busk some songs when you're jamming camping, once you get stuck with a nylon stringer, you can actually find it actually really quite a lot of fun. So, I mean, £8? Really? Really? Not the cheapest Japanese nylon stringer that's been picked up this year at the car boot sale though. I had one in the live stream last night, Jen picked up for a £5. This one, the bridge is hanging off it and one of the braces is completely off. So I might have bitten off more than I can chew. It was only a £5 though, so what you got to lose? But that's how I learned how to do electric guitars, was what have I got to lose? I do get the fear about working on guitars and you're sitting there with your £300 or your £500 guitar and not wanting to damage it and break it. But the way I started, a guitar I found in a bin or something, and you know, even though it did cost me £20 in parts to get the guitar working. Those parts were still there, so you know, if I made the guitar and it didn't work out, I would still have the tuners that I bought. I could just take them back off again and use them for something else, or sell them or whatever. I'm not even sure which guitar it would have been. It would have been the first one that I successfully built. I think it was actually the Malcocaster I built myself. For a laugh, it was like that because it was absolutely total freedom. It was like, can you build a guitar? Of course I can't build a guitar, but I had this telly neck, and I bought a telly bridge. I got a few bits off my pal, and it was like, what if I just jigsaw around that? It's just a piece of wood. I'll draw around my telly, jigsaw it out, chisel out the neck pocket, put it together just for a laugh, and I ended up with a good guitar. So after that, it was buying guitars with bits missing, and then just things like replacing tuners, and realising that not all tuners are the same. Like if you want to upgrade from the shitey type of tuners, you know, the ones that have got the cover on the back, to go to ones that have got the bolt, hold them on at the front, you need to drill the hole, and such things. But not just buying stuff. I've come across too many parts casters that I've bought really cheap, where very obviously the parts themselves are worth 2 or 3 times what I'm paying for the guitar, because people go, I'm going to build a kit guitar, and they spend months trying to do a sunburst finish or something like that, which always looks shit. And then they buy Seymour Duncan pickups and blah blah blah, and they stick it together, and they don't spend any of the correct amount of time actually assembling it. So you end up with a guitar that's got all on the spec sheet, looks pure amazing, but you can't play it. So I've bought quite a few kit guitars that I've basically completely unbuilt them. You know, had it off, used the chiseling to make the bits actually fit together, so when I reassemble it, it's a good guitar. So a wee bit scared of parts casters. Be wary of parts casters unless you're buying it off somebody like me you can trust, who has built that guitar really well. And if it's not, that'll be like, yeah, so is it a really good guitar? And I'll be like, it's a tenner. I'm not going to sell a working guitar for a tenner. Even this, I mean, this has got to be worth it. Oh, easily twice as much. Easily 16 quid. No, I think these things are, guitars like this in better condition that you don't need to fix yourself. Maybe 150 quid, something like that. But I mean, it's just nicer. I mean, it's just comparing it to that way, you don't be a dick one. It's like, which I think sounds good for the case it was. You know, aye. No, I still quite like it. It's got a different voice. It's got like a kid's voice. It's almost like a ukulele. This. Yeah, it's a bit different. Yeah, so that was all I wanted. Here, close up on my new shoes, which are probably a couple £100 new. Hey, so rock on and play acoustic. I slagging off acoustics for being boring, always being brown, and there's no point in having more than one of them unless you've got a spare one. There's no point in having more than two acoustic guitars. You know, I'm assuming one's there in case you snap a string on the other one, but sometimes a wee bit of inspiration. And I think really this guitar was such an eye opener to me. I mean, I like acoustic guitars 10 times as much since I got this. Again, I think the fact that it's not the same size as all the other ones. See, if it was the full size Dreadnought, I know what one of them's meant to sound like. It's a very distinctive sound, and the more expensive your guitar, the more it sounds like the Martin D28 or whatever the Martin it's a copy of is. You know, my main acoustic, or my The one I bought my 18th birthday is a Yamaha Dreadnought. It's a solid top and all that. So I mean, it's a better, probably a better guitar than this. Imagine saying that, it's got nearly 30 years on it, doesn't it? So yeah, they're not new. That must be, I suppose I bought that 20 years ago, so it's probably 30 years old as well. But these have there's a certain class, and it's the build quality, it's not the wood. The wood is just plywood. These don't even have binding on them. And a couple of, I think I super glued and clamped a couple of cracks on this one where the top was coming off the body, and I did the same on the new one. There was a bad crack in the bottom. That's which the one that Jen had noticed. That's how she got it for a £5 instead of or £8 instead of the 15 that the guy wanted. Got a crack in it, a £5. 8. Yeah. I don't know. It's a relaxing sound. When we were at when we were doing the JPAX thing at the Braehead Shopping Centre, we had the Suzuki I was talking about earlier on, and there was a guitar teacher walked past, a young guy, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna give you a shot of that." That's about a guitar teacher, and he was playing the proper flamenco classical guitar, and it was amazing. There was so many chords that he was kind of playing notes here, you know, but missing, there was open strings in it. So like in proper flamenco playing, you've got all your chords obviously down here. On these ones there's open strings in there, but there's ways of playing difficult to finger chords up here where you are getting, it's just a G, but you've got like 3 really high notes in it, but the rest of it's open. And it was really fascinating to watch. All these techniques that I had no idea how to do. It's like, I recognise it from hearing it in songs, but is that how you do that? And it's like, you know, a lot of open stringiness. I think one of the big differences with the acoustics as well, I noticed a wee bit more with the electrics, just I've got a bit better on the guitar, a bit more dynamic, like have a quiet bit. Work out what your maximum volume is. Not as powerful. So it's heavy as you can get. So because that's a heavy bit, play all the light bits really light. Oh, 40 minutes. There we go. There's a proper video for West Tone Week, which I might just make it West Tone Wednesday, actually. I've already done one. I might just make it West Tone Wednesday. That means I can do one West Tone a week and then I can do whatever I feel like doing. I just felt like playing... Again, I'm a little bit chuffing myself for fixing it up. For fixing up the two of them. And I do love my wee Terada collection. I just wish that they made acoustic basses back in those days, because steel string, nylon string, an acoustic bass would be smashing, but acoustic basses didn't really exist. Acoustic basses kind of don't really work. Wayne had one that I wanted to buy off him, I didn't buy it off him, and then I said I'll get it off you next month, and then someone else bought it. It was a Dean, and it was huge. The body on it was massive, and it was full scale, and it was like that thick, and it sounded brilliant. It was like, that's the concept. In order to get a bass to work, it has to be massive. You can't have one of these small body cutaway things you need to plug in. What's the point in that? You need one you can play without plugging it in. So maybe on the lookout for not really looking out for an acoustic bass. In fact, actually, I've got an Echo guitar body. It takes a bolt-on neck. I just put a bass neck on it. Like and subscribe.